Family reunification visas in Mexico. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel MyLatinLife. Today we're diving into one of the most accessible ways to gain residency in Mexico, the Family Reunification visa. This visa is an excellent option for people who have close family ties to Mexican citizens or residents. But how does it work? What are the requirements, and is it the right path for you? In this video, we'll cover what family reunification visas are, who qualifies, a step-by-step application process, and some key benefits and tips for making your application as smooth as possible. If you're considering residency in Mexico, if you have family in Mexico, if you have family that's even Mexican residents, they don't even have to be citizens, right? Or you're curious about how your family connections can help you settle here legally, this video is for you. Let's jump right in. So, first and foremost, what is a family reunification visa in Mexico? Also known as the Visa por Vínculo Familiar, so visa for family links, and this is designed to help people to join their family members who are already Mexican citizens or legal residents. I think maybe there's a misconception that this is only for Mexican citizens or anchor babies or Mexican spouses or something like that. But even if your spouse is just a Mexican resident, if your parents are Mexican residents, if your kids are Mexican residents, this can work for you as well. It's one of the most straightforward residency options in Mexico because it does not require proof of income, savings, or a job. Instead, it's based entirely on your relationship to someone who's already established here, okay? The visa typically leads to temporary residency, which is valid for 1 year and renewable for up to 4 years. And then after 4 years, it will renew to permanent residency. So you're going to be working towards permanent residency and even citizenship if you so choose with this visa. So, who qualifies for a family reunification visa? To qualify, you need to have close family relationship with someone who is 1, a Mexican citizen, 2, a permanent resident, or 3, a temporary resident in Mexico. Okay, any of those 3, citizen, perm, or temp. Eligible relationships include being the spouse or common law partner of a qualifying person, being the parent of a minor who is a Mexican citizen or resident, being the child under 18 years old of a Mexican citizen or resident, or being the adult dependent child of a Mexican citizen or resident in the case of disability or other dependency. So in other words, if you're like a retiree or your parent is a retiree and they have residency in Mexico, you as the adult child can actually join on and kind of help them and say that they're dependent on you, your parents are disabled, blah, blah, blah. And so you can get residency that way. Cool. So what's cool about this is this particular option, kind of as an aside, is if a retiree gets Mexico residency, we can essentially get residency for all the retiree's children, okay? And then once the children are residents, we can maybe get it for their children's, right? So that all 3 generations of the family have Mexico residency. Cool. And by the way, if you are married or in a recognized civil partnership with a Mexican citizen, you might also qualify for permanent residency right away. If your child was born in Mexico, you might qualify for permanent residency right away. So kind of depending on the relationship, it could be perm, it could be temp, but those are the 2 common ones for perm, okay? So now let's go through the kind of step-by-step application process. So applying for a family reunification visa is a multi-step process, but it's pretty straightforward, honestly. So number 1, you're going to gather your documents. You're going to need a valid passport. You're going to need proof of the family relationship, such as a marriage certificate, birth certificate, adoption papers, etc. You'll need the Mexican citizen or resident's official documentation, such as the Mexican birth certificate or the residency card or the INE, which is like the voter ID. Okay, and then a document proving their address in Mexico, such as a utility bill or rental contract. If you don't have an address, don't worry about it. MyLatinLife, if you use our service, will provide an address for you. Okay. Now, this process can be done either inside or outside of Mexico. So in a lot of cases, we recommend people just come straight to Mexico to do it. If you're trying to figure out whether you want to do this process in or outside of Mexico, you can book a consultation call with us or simply order the service, and we'll kind of figure out what makes the most sense for your situation. Okay? And once you've done your appointment at the I&M office in Mexico, you will get your residency card. You'll have a residency card in your hands, and you'll officially be a resident of Mexico. Now, what are the benefits of the Family Reunification visa? Number one, there's no financial requirements, unlike a lot of other residency pathways in Mexico. For family reunification, you do not need to prove income or savings. This makes it accessible to many people who wouldn't qualify under, financial criteria. Two is there's a direct path to permanent residency right away, depending on the relationship. We mentioned if your spouse is a Mexican citizen or you have a baby that's a Mexican citizen, then you can skip the temp stage entirely, go straight to perm. Cool. Number three, you can get legal work authorization in Mexico. It requires an additional step, but once you're a resident, you can get work authorization in Mexico, which is pretty cool. Number four is potentially faster path to naturalization. So if your family connection is to a Mexican citizen, this visa can significantly shorten the timeline to Mexican citizenship. Okay. For example, spouses of Mexican citizens can apply for naturalization after just 2 years of residency. And same thing for parents of Mexico-born children. We have some other videos on this channel, the MyLatinLife channel, about the naturalization process in Mexico. So if you just kind of search the word Mexico in our backlog of videos, like a whole bunch of stuff will come up. Cool. So a couple tips for ensuring a smooth application process. One, double check all your documents. Even small errors like mismatched names or missing apostilles can delay your application. So make sure you have everything in order before submitting. If you decide to work with MyLatinLife, obviously we're going to prepare your documents, review your documents, and put your case together in a way that will maximize the probability of success, eliminate the guesswork, reduce the percentage chance of getting denied, or even have them saying like, hey, come back later with more stuff. So, you might just want to work with us. We don't charge much money, but up to you. Okay, another one is translations. So if your documents were issued outside of Mexico, they'll likely need to be translated into Spanish and also apostilled. So something to keep in mind, English language birth certificates need to be translated and so forth. Another tip is start early. These apostilles can take a long time to get. It can take months to get apostilles depending on the country that the apostilles are from. An apostille is a legalization, by the way, sort of like an authentication. I think there's another video on our channel explaining the apostille process, and also a link to some of the services we recommend for getting the apostilles. But in any case, start early. This is the type of thing where just start early, execute the tasks so that you are not the blocker, and the only blocker is kind of, waiting for appointments and this kind of thing, right? So it's not on you, it's on them. Okay? And we highly recommend working with an expert. It's another tip. Immigration rules can vary by state, even within Mexico, and working with a qualified immigration specialist can save you time and stress for sure. I mean, we don't want you learning all about this process. We'd rather you focus on your business, focus on what's important in your life. And we've done this dozens and dozens of times, and we know what to do. We know what works. So some final thoughts on the family reunification visa. It's really one of the most accessible ways to gain residency in Mexico, especially if you have close ties to a Mexican citizen or resident. If you qualify for family reunification, we almost always recommend people take this route instead of the traditional financial criteria route. This one is way easier than the financial criteria one, simply because it's less paperwork and less documentation that you need to provide. So just kind of reduces the variables, reduces the amount of stuff that you need to go out and collect. So if you're thinking about applying, start gathering your documents now and check with your local consulate or immigration office for specific requirements they might have. By the way, we can help you collect your documents too. We can help you get your apostilles. We can help you identify maybe what documents you're missing, so that it's not this sort of uncertain thing. So what do you think about the family reunification visa? Is it something that you're considering? Let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. If you have experience with this visa, if you've done it for your family, we'd love for you to leave a comment and learn more about your experience. At MyLatinLife, we've processed dozens and dozens of these visas. We know what we're doing, so hit us up. All the links will be in the description. And as always, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for updates on all things related to Mexico residency, visas, and immigration. And also check the backlog of videos on our channel. We got tons and tons of videos on Mexico. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.